Much love and many blessings, everyone. Happy Friday, happy Venus Day. This is definitely an auspicious day. I've been noticing throughout this week that, especially yesterday, I feel like it really kicked off. But just everybody I interacted with, everybody I ran into had a very jovial vibe, a very just uplifted vibe, and everyone was just with all the interactions, all the errands I ran, just a lot of the people, they were in high spirits. There's definitely an energy moving through the collective that has people in their lightest state. And like one of the messages I've been noticing when I was talking about when judgment came up with the lovers, is there's this feeling evoking within our deeper center that's rising to the surface that is really bringing out our best qualities, and we're trying to magnetize to that. Those of us that have been moving in alignment are definitely loving this sensation. Because the energy, this vibrational energy of Aquarius is amplifying the work that's been put in up to now. So what that looks like is, if you've been moving in good grace and good karma, it's like you're walking around and it's like your needs, you feel like they're met, or if you put your mind to things, they just manifest so quickly because of all the blessed accrued karma that's built up over the years. And with this vibration kicking off, the universe is really looking to just listen in on what it is that you're asking for so that it can manifest to you. Now on the opposite end, because energy exists in polarity, if you've been moving with karmic negativity, really just swindling, taking, have you been spending the year taking from people and finessing, then that same energy is also coming back, and now you're having to pay back and give back, and karmically it's just as intense as how the blessings have been amplified out, but it's equal. So it can be a really rough time if you've been feeling as if there's things that you know that you haven't handled correctly or reconciled. But today overall, like I was saying, coinciding with the energy that's just been releasing, while you've been seeing the state of the vibration and the people that we've been running around in such a higher energy state, is because of those very things. Age of Aquarius, we're in the Aquarius season right now. So with Friday being Venus Day, and with all these good vibes, we want to relax and socialize. We don't want to have our minds bogged down thinking. Friday's not a day to think and then run our minds crazy with all these things that we need to do, because we're at the end of the week. Whatever it is that you accomplished or didn't accomplish, it's time for a repivot. It's time to pat yourself on the back for the things that you were able to get done, and the things that you weren't is not to hold yourself in contempt, but to hold yourself accountable and see what you can do to reevaluate, assess, and move forward and take the next steps. Every breath allows us to really see where we're at and empower ourselves. So today, I'll be working with Kuan Yin, because Kuan Yin is the Chinese goddess of, best way to put it, just to sum her up and simplify it, would be touch and compassion. A lot of her frequencies and energies evoke very well when you're working with massage therapy and tantra. Especially Kuan Yin comes at a time, surprisingly, after we may feel vulnerable, like when Kali steps in the picture, tears down our old relationships, tears down our old job that we've been working at for 10 years, and we're feeling like, what do we do now? And we're feeling powerless. You know, after Kali Ma comes in and liberates us from these old foundations that aren't good, Kuan Yin sometimes might be there wrapping you in that blanket of comfort, kind of like if you know, like when you watch the movies, the horror movie, and you see the virgin character in the movie, when they make it at the end and everybody's died, they're sitting in the ambulance wrapped up in that blanket. The only thing that they're still really experiencing after the trauma of whatever horror had, you know, prevailed during that time is the PTSD, but they're wrapped in the blanket. And Kuan Yin, I want you to kind of think like that. Kuan Yin comes and comforts you in your times when you feel the most vulnerable, when you need that just the right touch in order to move through. And that's what we're offering today, because with everything that's transpired, especially if you've been feeling down and out, we don't want to feel alone. We want to have people around us, but sometimes we might compromise our authenticity for the sake of just not being alone, because that journey can be very difficult. Walking in your integrity isn't always a very glamorous life when it comes to fame. You know, it can be a lonely road, expressing your truth and not yielding for the sake of somebody else. Whew. A lot of energy there. I'll also be working with the Manera deck as well. I'm really excited because the Kali, as I've been working with Kali, I've been doing my own personal work with the Kali Oracle. With this age of Aquarius, most likely this weekend, I will be posting by the signs or the elements, depending on how time permits, individual wisdom messages for this age of Aquarius season and the age of Aquarius era and the Aquarius season is what I want to say. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm really excited, and you're going to love the insight that resonates with your spirit. But right now I'm going to leave you with a quick message. I've been kind of going on about this week and just the energy that's unfolding. So we're connecting with spirit, creating a sacred space so that everyone can resonate and attune to the message, allow themselves to surrender, because when we're in our state of control, the answers have to come to us how we want them to. But if the answers came the way we wanted them to, if we could control the outcome that much, then we would have already had the answer to begin with. So clearly, answers don't come on our terms. Answers come how they're given. You ask the question, you don't get to dictate the answer. You ask the question, the beggar doesn't get to ask. The beggar doesn't get to be the chooser. The beggar does not get to be the chooser. You ask the universe a question, you ask the universe for something, you don't get to choose how it comes to you. You can ask, you can make preferences, but you don't get to dictate. When it is presented to you, you have to appreciate truth for what it is. So let's move through this day, let's walk in unconditional love, drop biases so that we can open our crowns up to the intrinsic truth, not the truths that we believe are the perception. Let's open ourselves up to intrinsic truth. Ashe. I was thinking about that recently with the Bernie Mac. I'm not Bernie Mac. I'm not saying Bernie Mac. Bernie Sanders. the Bernie Sanders memes that they've been doing lately, and I'm done that he literally. I saw a particular one where he's sitting in like the Four of Pentacles position, and as funny as it was, I actually ended up sharing it. But Spirit also got me thinking, and I was like, wait a minute, you know what? Just rendition wise of the placement of Pentacles. And the placement of the Four of Pentacles, the traditional one, the placement of where the pentacles are on the character that's represented in that picture, you look and you see that there's an intention on the head, there's an intention more so at the chest where the heart is, and the two at the feet. And sometimes, depending on the rendition, the Four of Pentacles can really represent that you are juggling your energies. There's not necessarily a solidarity of what you want to do. It could look like having $1,000 and say you spend 200 here, 300 on this bill, you invest on this, you buy this, and it's like you have all your energy in different places instead of just taking that same 1,000 and putting it towards one thing as a solid investment. It's the dividing up of the available energy. Also, when Four of Pentacles shows up, it shows that you might be holding on to something that's very valuable to you, and you're like, something has to move me. It has to be in coinciding with something that I'm in favor of, which is why you see one of the pentacles that's usually on the head. But yeah, like that rendition was really funny. But just with the intention of how that card is laid out, when we're dealing with the Four of Pentacles, we're dealing with frugality, or I'm not going to release this because it's precious to me unless something really gasses me or moves me, or if I'm paying attention and I'm not caught up in illusions or manipulation, is authentic to what it is that I feel is in vein of the values that I want. It's a hard pressed energy to squeeze out. So in those positions, when it shows up, it usually means that it's not going to come without some buttering up or some type of offering or exchange or compromise. So with this positioning, as you see, I got the layout here. First, we're going to look at the Kuan Yin energies, and we're dealing with the many hands of the goddess. So again, this is not the first time this wisdom has come up, but with the placement and it being here at the center, this is us also showing that our heart desires are manyfold, and we may even feel that we can accomplish and do anything that we desire to do. I want to actually elaborate on that more because I'm seeing the numbers of 1 and 7, which are very powerful. 17, those numbers can come out to 8. It's a very powerful number. Okay, so we have the priest. representative to Taurus and likened to Taurus. So we're definitely talking about traditions and the way we use our energy, especially since it's overlaying the heart and overlaying our center for this moment and resonating with the collective at this time. A lot of times when we want to use our energy, it's our dogmas. When the priest shows up, when the Hierophant shows up, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of structure. Sometimes that could represent that there's unnecessary rituals. It's like, okay, I have to do these 3 Hail Marys before I, can actually pray. Do you actually have to do that, or is that something that you've been taught? Is what you were taught valid, or was it just something you took as what is? These are things that come up, and you need to look at the situations in your life. And since we're dealing with Venus Day, we're dealing with how this age of Aquarius and becoming more open with our own uniqueness, this really calls the spirit as well with Uranus being in Taurus and how we're breaking away from our conventionality and our traditionalness. So what are you doing? What do you find yourself doing within your heart that you feel has to always come out the same way, has to always be held to the same structure, standards, and norms? In what ways can you move and accomplish new things? All right, let's delve into Kuan Yin a little bit further in her wisdom for the collective today. The goddess Kuan Yin brings blessings to multiple projects and many different parts of your life and consciousness, beloved. She is not limited to one task at a time. Do not be afraid to surrender into her guiding wisdom and creative genius now. For there is much that you can accomplish together, and she wants to assist you. So this is also confirmation as well that those feelings that you've been feeling rise up in your heart. There's so many times that the moment we feel that rush, we hold our breath. The moment we feel that rush of excitement, we have to caution. We have to say, wait a minute. We're always in such a state of too good to be true that we don't consider all the possibilities, all the things that we can put our heart's hands to, all the things that could be divinely held together. You don't have to hold any situation of your heart's desires on your own. You have the backing of spirit, the backing of your ancestors, and the backing of projected external projections that authentically support you through friends and family. Not people who just simply hold those titles out of labels, but genuine divine representations of how to make your focuses and your projects a reality. How to create that structure and to see if the structure that you're implementing is working for you. We often create well when focused on one project at a time, seeing it through to completion and then tending to the next one. Sometimes our attentions might be stretched across numerous projects, especially if we have a lot of natural creative energy at our disposal. You may worry that you are being stretched beyond your capacity to be productive, that your creative energy is being dissipated by flipping from one project to another, and that you will not complete anything. The goddess of Kuan Yin is to release your worries and intentions and to let her in and then to guide you. So sometimes it's hard for us to trust in a new path that we are not directly controlling because we also are afraid or insecure of what the outcome would be. Control, we think control is power because control means that I'm holding this thing in place, that I'm getting exactly what I want and I don't have to worry about any other outcomes. But that's not really, that's an illusion, and that's a very limited thinking because it's essentially being king of the sandbox. Yeah, you have that small part in alignment, you know each and every little grain of sand in detail, but what can you really do with that? It's only good within that platform, and it does not hold any other context for anything tangible or realistic or even effective that means something in your life other than what you delude yourself to believe in your ego mind. And that's not helping anyone. And the fact that the head is showing the Empress, I do feel an inversion. So we're dealing with the Venus, we're dealing with honoring our creative force, our creatrix, our creative force. and making sure that we honor, you see the woman figure, the divine feminine figure, as well as the masculine figure bowing down to the creative force. So that means that we're also bowing down to the value of the creative force within as well, and not diminishing it by questioning it or saying that's wrong. If it feels right to you and is resonating right to you, then you need to honor it. But the fact that the priest is showing up here is showing that you're letting external things and other obligations, other societal structures, other things that you've erected for yourself that may not even actually be tangible. They may just be concepts, constructs, and immaterial things that hold no weight except just phantom energy lingering in your energy field that makes it feel as if this thing is so real just because it's always in front of you. So we have the energy at our feet. That's not surprising because we're dealing with the page of fire, the page of wands, which is all fire energy. Fire is creative or destructive energy. And the queen of fire. So we're dealing with two definitely fiery energies. We're dealing with, especially with the queen and the the page of fire being here, are showing either a need for healing or that the energy is not truly put into what it's meant to do, because this is just calling it out. It's kind of like hey, this is what it is, or like, hear all about it, but you don't go to the person that's delivering the messages for the details. So that means that after it comes up, there's a deeper connection that needs to be investigated, which is why you see the queen of fire, because the queen is deep energy, it's feminine energy, it's energy beneath the surface. So this is an honoring of the movement that's predicated off of what is being healed within. You're putting your hands to many different things. So if something is holding you in place, it's most likely the stagnation that you don't feel that you can actually manifest what it is that you desire within your heart. That you are obligated to hold to norms that have already been established, because this is already something tried and true that's been being done. So you are put up on this pedestal out of obligation, and this priest figure is orchestrating and telling you how you must display yourself. So you need to look at the situations within your space today, the circles that you're in, and the obligations that you hold yourself to, and ask yourself, what are you being held to? What rituals? When you go to the church out in the world, what rituals do you feel like you're completing your Hail Marys for, completing communion for, and being held to? Is it time to switch church families? Is it time to switch the societal family that you're holding yourself to? Because there's no point in being a part of a church home just for the sake of community. That's just creating a coven of stagnation. Just to be a part of something, to say that you're a part of something. The reason that we create communion is to not sit in stagnation, but to liberate. But by the nature of liberation, it also means that there's a part of yourself that separates from what is relatable to what you came together in the community for. So this also means that a big chunk of what you're required to do is to read in between the fucking lines. Everything's not black and white. You have to read in between the lines to decide what's important for you. And today, it really looks as if your heart desires to do everything that you've always wanted to accomplish. It doesn't matter how weird it sounds. It doesn't matter how it looks. It matters how it makes you feel, and it matters if it's in alignment with you and the world around you. Much love and many blessings, and Ashe. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy Venus Day, enjoy this age of Aquarius. Take in your divine breath. Enjoy this moment. Appreciate the fact that you're here now and that you can accomplish anything that you want to set out to do today. Love yourself and walk in your power. Thank you for tuning in. Many blessings. This was another divine message from Lotus. Make sure to click the subscribe button and follow me on Urban Lotus 6 on IG. Stay tuned. I'll be posting for the Age of Aquarius by the signs or by elements. Stay tuned. I'll be dropping that shortly. Much love and Ashe.